Hey guys, Marcus Melnick here with Firearm Mentor. Hope you're enjoying my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. These little things are free to you and really help the channel. I appreciate your support. Enjoy. Thank you.
The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters. Greetings and welcome back to the Personal Safety Show. This is Marcus Melnick from Firearm Mentor and Stress to Logic, your host. And in this segment, we're also going to be going over some mainstream media about firearms that are some articles out there. And this next one is about red dot sights and the best red dot sights of 2024. Now, I tried a red dot sight on a pistol. I didn't really care for it. But the truth is, as I age, I may be caring for it more and more. But as of now, I'm more of an iron sights kind of shooter. So narrowing down the list of red dot sights is like determining the best flavor of ice cream. I like a lot of flavors. There's just a ton of options. Most perform very well. Some are excellent, and sometimes you get a dud. And there are a host of red dots. To simplify things, red dots for handguns are going to be discussed rather than open the field to those that are purpose-built for other firearms. Even with that fence around the reviews, it was an enormous undertaking. This is a review. And what he looked at was the Trijicon MRO, Bushnell Trophy TRS 25, Sig Sauer Romeo 5, and a couple other red dot sights for carbines down the line. That the best red dots for you comes down to three main factors. The first one is, what is your intended use? If you go recreational plinking at the range, it's difficult to go wrong with any of the sights out there. But when your needs are more specific and demanding, the options narrow. For deep concealment, micro sights are the way to go, but they're often more difficult to use than sights with wider windows. If you need your sight to endure extremely harsh environments, then you would need to choose an enclosed emitter unit, which tends to be a little bit bulkier and more expensive than open emitters. If competing at a high level in shooting competitions, if that's your thing, you don't want to cut corners on the objective lens size, dot sharpness, and other features as well. Which segues into the second factor, which is budget. You can pick up a reasonable sight for about $100 or so. I'm thinking more $150, including one to mount on a defensive pistol that you're counting on to potentially save your life. But as you spend more money, you get better feature sets, improved quality, and more sophistication. Now, some people prefer the simpler engineering than the sophisticated engineering. And you can spend more than $400 on a red dot, and some of them, the best ones, run in the $400 to $600 range. That could be more than your firearm. There's a lot of great sights to be had between $300 and $400. And then it's the X factor of what looks cool to you. As the saying goes, what separates humans from the rest of the animal kingdom is our ability to accessorize. And when we add something new to any of our guns, most of us want it to look good. By that yardstick, some of the best red dot sights have greater visual impact than others, and it doesn't always correspond to price. According to this article, the best overall sight was the Trijicon RMR Type 2. The best enclosed emitter was from the Aimpoint Acro P-2. Best for competitive shooting was the Trijicon SRO. The best RMS-C enclosed emitter was the HoloSun EPS Carry. Your best value was the Vortex Defender-ST. And when I worked in a firearm store, one of the guys, he just swore by Vortex. He loved it. And he was a vet. The most versatile is the Burris Fast Fire 4. Lightest weight is going to be the Sig Sauer Romeo Zero Elite. The best high-end concealed carry sight is the Trijicon RMR CC. Best micro is a Swamp Fox Sentinel M. The best shotgun and pistol crossover is a Holosun HE509T-RD. Best low profile is a Leupold Delta Micro Point. And the best for fast close shooting is the Leupold Delta Point Pro 6 MOA. The Steiner MPS is ultra rugged, and the best for an AR pistol is a USO DRS 2.0. The article goes on to talk about the different features. So the Trijicon one, that's the best overall RMR Type 2, is 1.2 ounces. The objective lens is 0.8 by 0.6 inches. The reticle can be 1, 3 1/4, or 6 MOA. And there's 8 settings. 2 of them are for night vision. Here's the great part. Battery life is 4 years, and it's a CR2032 button battery. It's good for hard use, great ergonomics, great engineering, but the con is it is expensive. The Trijicon RMR Type 2's distinctive features do set it apart from the rest of the field and justify its lofty price tag. After spending months of testing the whole field, the author picked this one as the winner. It's a Sophie's Choice scenario for sure, but rules are rules, and the RMR Type 2 got the nod as overall best red dot sight. So it's difficult to find anything to criticize about this sight other than maybe its price. But you get what you pay for. When you slap money down for one of these, you're getting a hell of a unit. The RMR sights have a couple of distinctive features compared to the rest of the field. One is drain holes on either side of the housing that keep water and other debris from collecting around the emitter. The other is the curious shape of the housing with its concave top, and both of these elements hint towards the end users that Trijicon had in mind when developing the sights, serious professionals who rely on them for their lives. The utility of the drain ports is obvious. Whether Marines are on a patrol in a swamp or a special operations unit is using scuba gear, they want their sights to be clear and good all the time. The shape of the housing mitigates hard impacts and protects the glass from damage. It is rated waterproof to 20 meters, which translates to 66 feet. There are a couple dozen different variants of the Type 2 to pick from, with various mounting sizes and dot sizes. And like I said before, it can be had with a 1, 3 1/4, or 6.5 MOI. The author's is a 3 1/4 MOA dot, which is bright and crisp. The unit has minimal optical distortion, though the glass does have a noticeable blue tinge. 8 brightness settings to pick from, including 2 for night vision, and a 4-year runtime battery. If desired, the sight can also be set to an automatic mode that adjusts the reticle brightness based on the ambient light. So if you're looking for a pistol or small arms sight that can do it all, personal protection, concealed carry, target shooting, hunting, the RMR Type 2 is it. Next, the best enclosed emitter red dot is an Aimpoint Acro P2. It's 2.1 ounces. The objective lens size is 15 by 15 millimeters. The dot is 3.5 MOA. There's 10 adjustment settings, 4 for night vision. The battery life is 50,000 hours, and the battery is also a CR2032 button. Pros are it's extremely rugged, it's great for optical clarity, and has excellent ergonomics. The only con is it's expensive. So the enclosed frame and waterproofing capabilities make this a rugged, reliable red dot. When putting together a new handgun for bear protection, the author topped it with this sight. The Aimpoint Acro P2 checks all the boxes he needed and excels in terms of reliability and survivability. The main virtue of an enclosed emitter is that it is protected from the environment. The author spends a lot of time in grizzly country, both in the mountains and low-lying river bottoms. And between the snow that's typical at elevation and the mud and debris that's any part of any river system, there are lots of ways for a red dot to get clogged with gunk. This Acro has flat windows on either side of the unit that can easily be wiped with a shirt sleeve to clear the glass. Just wipe your nose when you're done wiping the reticle. That was a joke, guys. The Acro has a best-in-class waterproofing, submersible to 35 meters, 115 feet, so you can dunk it without harming it. The P2 also has much improved battery life over the original and can deliver 5 years of service on a single CR2032 battery. The 3.5 MOI dot has crisp round edges, though when the intensity level is jacked up to the max of the 10 settings, the dot has a fair bit of blooming. On the plus side, there isn't any lighting situation where the dot will wash out. And the buttons that control the dot's intensity give very positive feedback, which allows them to be manipulated while wearing gloves. The optical clarity of the unit is among the best in the field. There is very little color distortion and no optical distortion when looking through the sight. Picking up the red dot and recovering it while shooting is a snap, and it's forgiving. All the performance does come at a cost. It is one of the most expensive red dots out there. Next, we have the Trijicon SRO, which is rated best for competitive shooting. It only weighs 1.6 ounces, and the objective lens size is 26 millimeter. You have an option of 1, 2.5, or 5 MOA dots. There's 8 brightness levels, 2 for night vision. Battery life is 3 years. Again, same button battery. The pros are it's generous. There's a generous sized objective lens. It's tough. Ergonomics are great. And the cons, once again, are it is expensive. This lens makes it easy to reacquire the dot during rapid shooting competitions. Looking through the optic is like staring out of a large picture window with mountain views. It's a thing of beauty. The generously sized objective measures 26 millimeters in diameter, making it easy to find and reacquire the dot during rapid shooting. The quality is a big part of the reason why this is the author's top choice for competition. In addition to that, it is the bomb-proof construction and top-notch engineering of all Trijicon red dots. This is offered with 3 dot sizes, which we just covered. There's a great balance between size and precision. It handles most shooting chores well. For a larger sight, it manages to sit relatively on the low side, making sighting through the window much faster and helping the sight co-witness with the iron sights more easily. The SRO has a tiny bit of optical distortion, but not enough to detract from the performance. And in fact, with the large lens, tracking and target transitions occur better than any other red dot sight in this test that I'm going over. The ergonomics are great. Windage and elevation adjusters have medium-sized slots that can accommodate a regular screwdriver bit or thin coin and offer positive feedback with each click. The sight has 150 MOA, of which travel between each click moves 1 MOA. Battery tray is easy to access and doesn't have to be removed from the pistol when putting in a new battery. There are 8 brightness settings, 2 of which are for night vision, and it can be automatically set to adjust brightness levels if you choose. And for those who want to take their guns underwater, it's rated waterproof to 3 meters or 10 feet with drain holes in the side of the housing. Next, we have the Holosun EPS carry. Now, this only weighs 1 ounce. It is the RMS Shield footprint. The battery is a CR1620 with life of 5,000 hours. It's 1.6 inches long, just shy of an inch wide, and a little bit more than an inch high. The window side is about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, so halfway in one direction, 3/4 in the other. The brightness, there's 8 brightness settings. 4 are for night vision. The size dots are 2, 6, 2 with a 32 MOA ring. That looks pretty cool. And you can get it in red or green reticles. Pros are it's bright, crisp dot, easy to change the battery, and a good option for concealed carry or even a turkey gun. The cons are it can bloom if the setting is too bright. The Holosun EPS carry mounts on guns with an RMSC, Holosun K, Leupold Delta Point Pro, and Sig Sauer Romeo Zero optic cuts for mounting plates. And it comes with screws of varying lengths, using the longest that will work with each And blue Loctite is already on them, which means you don't have to dip your screws in Loctite. HoloSun recommends torquing the screws to 15 inch-pounds. For the battery door is located on the right side of the optic and is accessible without removing the optic. And HoloSun claims the battery life of 5,000 hours, which is about 200 days. So in this case, I would change your batteries when you change your clocks, especially in your optics. It's not a 5-year battery life of the HoloSun 507K, but changing the battery once every 6 months is damn good. I also would recommend having extra batteries in your range bag. So when I first had an optic, it actually was an EOTech on a Beretta Storm carbine. I didn't know the difference. I was newer, less experienced than I am now, and it died. It died. The battery ran out of juice. And I took it to the range, and there was no dot. So I learned then, hey, maybe I should have a couple extra batteries in my bag. Moving on, the best value is the Vortex Defender ST, which has a 3 or 6 MOA reticle size. The dot color is red, and the mounting footprint is a Delta Point Pro. Adjustment increases is by 1 MOA, with a battery life of 25,000 hours, with the battery being a CR2032. The size is just shy of an inch wide by just shy of an inch tall. It's 1.5 ounces and it's $290. Pros are it's durable. It includes a Picatinny mount and mounting software for a variety of pistols. Battery life is very, very long, and it's a good all-around window size. But the cons are changing the battery isn't easy compared to a side door location. The Defender ST uses a Delta Point Pro mounting footprint instead of the Shield RMSC footprint, making it compatible with a wide range of full-size pistols like the Springfield Armory Echelon, as well as popular pistols like the Glock 17 MOS, Glock 19 MOS. The duty-focused Big Brother gives more elevation and windage travel, and it's about half an ounce heavier, takes a larger battery that results in claimed runtime of 25,000 hours, more than double of the Defender CCW. It comes out with 10 daytime brightness settings instead of the normal 8, and 2 night vision. You get the same reticle options. The window is barely larger, just 1/10 of an inch in each direction, but that's 12.5% increase does make a noticeable difference. When shooting drills at 7 hours, there was less time, 7 yards, there was less time needed to get on target and transition between targets because of the larger window. This is kind of the Goldilocks, just right. It's fast, accurate, tough, small enough that anyone who's willing to carry a full-size pistol wouldn't be bothered by it, but large enough to run quickly. The most versatile is the Burris Fastfire 4, 1.7 ounces, objective lens size is 27 by 18 millimeters. There's 4 user-selectable options for the reticle, including 3 brightness levels. Battery life is also fantastic at 26,000 hours, and the battery is a CR1632. The pros are multiple reticles, versatile design, but there is some optical distortion. The Burris Fastfire 4 is what's called the Swiss Army knife of red dots. With the push of the button on the right side of the unit's housing, you can cycle through 4 reticles, which includes a 3 MOA dot, an 11 MOA dot, and an 11 MOA dot surrounded by a 50 MOA circle, as well as a 3 MOA dot surrounded by a 50 MOA minutes of angle circle, with the addition of 2 wings that effectively form an horizontal crosshair. Each of the reticles has useful applications. The 3 dot is good for precise shot placement and general handgun use. The 11 dot is for bright lighting conditions that would work well for turkey hunters and slug gun hunters. And the 11 with a circle is good for personal defense and CQB scenarios. As the late night TV pitchmen say, but wait, there's more. It's also the only site in this list, in this article, that converts from an open to a closed emitter design, and it comes with an environmental shield that screws onto the back of the unit and encloses the emitter. While this won't make it waterproof against submersion, it will prevent rain, snow, and dirt from clogging the LED. There is a cross slot base so you can easily screw it onto a Weaver or Picatinny pattern mounting surface. While the weather shield installed, the weight of the unit is right at about 2 ounces. With the base removed, the Fastfire has a Dr. Noblex footprint, so with an adapter you can mount it to a handgun and it won't be too bulky. The wide objective lens makes reticle acquisition easy, but the glass does have a noticeable optical distortion. The lightest weight is a Sig Sauer Romeo Zero Elite. It weighs only half an ounce. The objective lens size is 20 millimeters, and the reticle is a 3 MOA dot. There's 8 settings. Battery is a CR1632 with 20,000 hours of life. The pros are it's lightweight and a good value, but the cons are there's an inconvenient control button. The Romeo Zero Elite is a wisp of a red dot, tipping the scales at a dainty half an ounce. Its compact profile makes it a good choice for smaller concealed carry guns, including a Glock 19, which has stood up to the test of time for rough use in a lot of rounds. A basic unit with a 3 MOA dot, it has 8 brightness levels. It's also offered with a 2 MOA dot and a 32 MOA circle for those who want a larger reticle. A small button just behind the objective lens controls the unit, and it's unobtrusive, but the button is a little bit hard to reach, especially if you have pickle fingers, and a bit of a pain to manipulate. With dirty fingers or a lot of shooting, it's difficult to adjust the brightness. Other than that, there's no complaints about the Romeo Zero Elite. The optical quality is pretty good. Has a metal shield you can install to give the polymer framed unit more protection if you like, and the Zero is easy to adjust via the recessed windage and elevation controls that use a tiny hex wrench. Another thing in its favor is affordability. It's one of the best red dots for the money. Hang on, we're going to pause for a brief break. I want my listeners to know that this is my dream, teaching people about safety. If it weren't for you, if it weren't for my listeners, I couldn't live my dream. So on behalf of my family and myself, I want to thank each and every one of you for allowing me to live my dream. And I also want to continue to live my dream, and I'm excited to continue to spread the word of safety. Recently, I began a new service as a conference keynote speaker. So if anyone would like for me to speak at future events, or if anyone knows of an introduction or would like to discuss how we can work with one another, I'd love to do just that. The keynote speaking website is www.stress2logic.com. That is STRESS, 2LOGIC.com. If you're aware of any conference speaking engagements where you'd like to have me speak, I'd love an introduction. You can always share my electronic business card, which is Marcus Melnick, MarcusMelnick.com. Now, back to the show. Just like you, I'm a human being, and I needed a drink because my throat was getting a little bit sore. So we were talking about different optics for firearms, and we're on to the Sig Sauer Romeo 1 Pro. It only weighs an ounce. The objective lens size is 28 by 17 millimeters. The reticle is a 3 or 6 MOA dot. There's 12 settings, 2 for night vision for brightness. 1632 battery, 20,000 life hours. Pros are it's very shootable, good ergonomics, but it's not rated for a 10 millimeter. It's a great all-around red dot sight that can function well for either personal protection, competition, recreation, or recreational shooting duties. It has a generous window size, 28 by 17 millimeters, making it one of the faster red dots to shoot. Very easy to pick up on the initial gun presentation and reacquire it under recoil. The Romeo 1 Pro has been used on a SIG P320 for a couple of years, and it has served the author well. The housing is made of machined aluminum and has withstood daily use and abuse with only a couple of scratches. The aluminum forms a bit of a lip in the front of the sight's window so you can bang the housing against hard surfaces without touching or damaging the glass. The molded aspheric glass lens is multi-coated to reduce distortion. The optical clarity is very good, though the image does have a slight blue tinge, which is common with a lot of reflex sights. On the unit's left-hand side, there's 2 buttons, and that's for the brightness settings, 2 of which are for night vision. The sealed electronics on it are rated to IPX7 waterproofness, which means it can be submerged to 1 meter for 30 minutes. The battery compartment is right behind the object lens and can be opened with a slot head bit or coin, allowing the shooter to change batteries without messing up the pistol's zero. Again, it's a CR1632 and has a published runtime of 20,000 hours. To conserve battery life, the unit will power down after a period of time, and then it's kind of like a shake thing where you move it and it powers back on. The sight has a whopping 100 MOA of windage and elevation travel. If you're finding yourself needing all that, you might want to double check and see your pistol's barrel isn't bent. The sight uses 2 small slot head adjusters that move the dot 1 MOA with each click. It's also available with a 6 MOA dot, and it's worth noting that this particular unit is not rated for the best millimeter, which is 10 millimeter. For that, you want to upgrade to a SIG Romeo 2 1x30 millimeter enclosed emitter. Next, you've got the best high-end concealed carry sight. This will be the last one we're talking about, which is a Trijicon RMRCC. It's 1 ounce. Your objective lens size is 13 millimeters. You have a choice between a 3¼ or 6 MOA red dot, and there's 8 brightness levels, 2 for night vision, with a 4-year battery life, also a CR2032. Pros are it's extremely rugged, smart electronic features, but then it's a small window and relatively expensive. It's a beautifully engineered micro red dot with best-in-class ruggedness and a smart suite of electronic functionality. Feel free to do your own research on these, and happy hunting for optics. This is Marcus Melnick, and we will be back next week with more exciting firearms and safety news. Thank you. We have monthly concealed carry license CCL classes in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Dates can be seen at firearmmentor.com/classes. If you have a question, we can be reached at www.firearmmentorcard.com. That is our electronic business card, has all of our contact information and links in it. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us. Until next time, stay safe out there, and I'll see you at the shooting range. This is Marcus Melnick from Firearm Mentor signing off. The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters.